You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. You know, waking up in 2026 feels a little bit like we're all living inside a sci-fi novel. But, and here's the kicker, it feels like the author is a caffeine-addicted AI that just keeps adding plot twists.
It's definitely breathless. Usually history moves in decades, but lately it feels like we're getting a decade's worth of structural change every Tuesday morning.
Fiercely. It's barely the end of January, and I mean, we're already looking at a world where your toaster might need a lawyer.
And your next manager could be a chatbot.
Exactly. And look, as your resident vocal technologist, I feel it's my duty to warn you. Things are getting weird.
I wouldn't say weird so much as accelerated. The feedback loops are just getting tighter and tighter.
Well, whatever you want to call it. We have a massive docket today. We're looking at Apple's mysterious new wearable, the $100 billion grudge match between Elon Musk and OpenAI.
Oh, that just won't die.
And why Netflix is suddenly throwing cash around to buy entire movie studios.
And while all the gadgets are shiny, and we will talk about the shiny gadgets, I know you want to, the real story here is infrastructure.
Right.
We're seeing this fundamental rewiring of how the world works from, blockchain stock markets running 204/7 to data centers literally orbiting the Earth.
Okay, let's unpack this, and let's start with that battle for the body, or specifically what we're going to be pinning to our chests.
The AI pin.
Yeah, there's this report floating around that Apple is deep in the lab developing an AirTag-sized AI pen. Now, my immediate reaction is, didn't we already see this movie?
The humane pin. The Rabbit R1.
Yeah, they flopped. Hard. Why does Apple think they can pull it off?
Because Apple waits. That's their whole playbook, right? The specs leaking out suggest this isn't just a voice recorder. It's a little thicker than an AirTag, and they're aiming for 2027.
Okay.
But it's packing dual cameras, a speaker, and microphones.
Great. An AirTag that spies on me.
Huh.
I mean, that sounds like a privacy nightmare just waiting to happen.
You'd think so, but the architecture suggests they're trying to solve that privacy issue at the hardware level. But look, the hardware is just the shell.
Right.
The real news, and the reason this might actually work where others failed, is the software overhaul we're expecting in iOS 27. Apple is finally revamping Siri.
Revamping is a polite way of saying giving it a complete brain transplant.
Yeah.
Siri has been the punchline of tech jokes for a decade.
It has, but the reports indicate they're turning it into a proper chatbot embedded deep in the operating system. But here's the strategic pivot that actually matters.
What's that?
Apple is designing this system so the underlying models can be swapped out.
Which is a huge departure from their usual walled garden approach.
Precisely. Usually it's Apple's way or the highway. Instead of locking you into Apple Intelligence, they're building an interface layer where the brain can change.
And the twist.
Initially, they are leaning heavily on Google-powered systems to run this new Siri.
That is wild. So you buy an Apple pin, running Apple software, powered by a Google brain.
It's like buying a Ferrari and finding a Toyota engine inside.
Reliable, sure, but really unexpected. But they aren't the only ones eyeing up our wardrobe real estate, right? OpenAI is also making moves.
They are. OpenAI is teasing their own hardware for late 2026. And this is turning into like a proxy war for design talent.
How so?
You have Jony Ive's IO team, which is working with OpenAI, and they're just poaching Apple alumni left and right.
I saw they grabbed Janum Trivedi. Now, for people who don't spend their lives reading release notes, why does that name matter?
Trivedi is the guy who built the multitasking interface on the iPad. He understands the physics of software, how it feels to interact with glass. So if you're OpenAI and you have the smartest model but no idea how to make it tactile and intuitive, you hire the guy who solved that for Apple.
So it's a battle of interface versus integration. But while we're talking about hardware, let's talk about the hardware that does the dishes.
Or is supposed to, anyway.
Yeah. Elon Musk is out there claiming Tesla will sell humanoid robots, the Optimus line, to the public by the end of 2027.
Elon's timelines are, let's call them aspirational.
That is generous. But is there actually any movement here?
In the factory, yes. They are doing simple tasks. But if you want to see where robotics is actually succeeding, don't look at the humanoid form factor yet.
Okay, where should I look?
Look at Matic.
The little cleaner bots? They look like Wall-E's cousins.
They do, but they have a distinct advantage. They exist. Matic robots have already cleaned 50 million square feet in real homes.
That's the difference between a demo video and a product.
Yeah.
One looks cool. The other actually handles dog hair.
Exactly. It proves the iterate in the wild model works. They dealt with the chaos of a real living room, kids, furniture, shadows, and they refined the software.
Right.
Tesla is trying to solve general intelligence first. Matic just tried to solve dirty floors.
I'll take clean floors over general intelligence any day.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of intelligence, let's pivot to the agentic shift. This is the stuff that's keeping engineers up at night. I read this anecdote about a developer who was in the top 0.01% of Cursor users, a hardcore coder who completely switched to Claude Code 2.0.
That's a significant signal. It marks the transition from writing to verifying.
He said he no longer needs to review the code line by line. He just tests the behaviors. He moved from being a writer to being a manager.
We are seeing the death of just coding and the birth of agent management. But the most delicious bit of irony in this whole space comes from inside Microsoft.
Oh, this is my favorite part. The call is coming from inside the house.
It really is. Microsoft sells Copilot, right? It's their flagship AI coding tool, the thing they tell every enterprise to buy.
Of course.
But internal leaks show that Microsoft Teams, we're talking Windows Teams, Microsoft 365, have been told to install Claude code for internal testing.
That is incredible. So while they're selling us Copilot, they're using the competitor to test their own stuff.
It feels like a chef refusing to eat at his own restaurant. Well, it just shows that in the trenches, engineers prioritize utility over brand loyalty. If Claude catches bugs that Copilot misses, you use Claude.
But GitHub isn't taking this lying down, though. They just released the Copilot SDK.
This is a smart move to regain ground. They are letting developers build agents into any app, not just code editors. But the thing is, for any of these agents to actually work, whether it's Claude or Copilot, you need to solve a specific technical bottleneck.
Which is what?
It's called back pressure.
Okay, back pressure sounds like something that happens to my plumbing when I ignore a clog. What does it mean for an LLM?
It's actually a concept from distributed systems. Think about a water pipe. If you pump water in faster than it can handle, it bursts.
Right.
In AI agents, back pressure is a flow control mechanism. When an agent is working on a complex task, it needs an automated feedback loop that says, stop, this output is garbage, don't go to step 4.
So it's an automated sanity check.
More than that, it's an error correction loop. Without it, an AI just compounds its own errors. Back pressure forces the system to halt, assess, and retry. That is the hurdle between a cool demo and actual production code.
So for the listener who is maybe a developer, does this mean their job is gone if the agent can correct itself?
Not at all. But the job is shifting. It's moving from syntax, knowing where to put the semicolon, to architecture and problem definition. The fundamentals matter more than ever.
Okay, job safe for now, provided you adapt. But you know whose job isn't safe? The lawyers. Or maybe they're the only ones who are safe. Let's talk about the billionaire brawl.
Elon Musk versus OpenAI, round infinity.
It feels like it's never going to end, but the numbers have gotten serious. Musk is now seeking damages between $79 billion and $134 billion.
That is a ludicrous amount of money.
On what grounds?
His argument is fraud. He claims OpenAI defrauded him by abandoning its nonprofit roots. He put in $38 million in seed money, right?
When it was a nonprofit.
Exactly. Now that OpenAI is valued at $500 billion, he argues that he was misled and wants a chunk of that valuation.
And he's got some ammo this time, right? The Microsoft papers.
This is the damaging part. Over 200 internal documents leaked. And they do not look good for the nonprofit narrative. They show just how heavily Microsoft shaped the direction of the lab. It suggests the nonprofit status might have just been, a tax-efficient wrapper for a Microsoft R&D division.
It seems like everyone is consolidating right now. It's not just Musk and OpenAI. Look at Netflix.
That was a shocker. Netflix has always had this philosophy of build, don't buy.
Right. Make their own content, own their own IP.
And now they are buying Warner Bros.
And paying all cash. That is a flex.
It's a defensive move. They're doing it to fend off a hostile takeover from Paramount. It shows even the streaming giants need to own the legacy libraries, the Batman, the Harry Potter, to survive.
It's the same with Capital One buying Brex. Brex was the cool startup card.
For $5.15 billion. It's the classic story. Fintech disruption eventually gets swallowed by the traditional banks.
And even TikTok is making moves, forming a joint venture just to stay alive in the U.S. It seems like the era of the upstart is ending and the era of the empire is back.
It's a maturation phase. But while these companies are fighting over market share on Earth, some of them are looking a lot higher up.
Space. The final frontier for server farms.
This is Elon's obsession again. He wants to put AI data centers in orbit.
Okay, I have to ask, is this just because it sounds cool, or is there an actual reason to put a server in zero gravity?
There is a logic to it. The two biggest costs for AI compute are energy and cooling.
Right.
In space, you have constant access to solar power, no night, no clouds, and the vacuum of space is a pretty good place to dump heat.
But the cost of getting it there must be astronomical, pun intended.
It is, and that's why SpaceX is rushing toward an IPO, targeting July 2026. They need to raise billions in capital to build this out.
But he's not the only one. Jeff Bezos is back in the game with Blue Origin.
He is. They are launching TerraWave. It's a direct rival to Starlink, but they aren't going for the consumer market.
Who's it for them?
Enterprise and government. We are talking about a network of over 5,000 satellites offering 6 terabits per second.
That is insane bandwidth. So we have Musk building the space servers and Bezos building the space internet to connect them.
Exactly. And we have commercial space stations being built because the ISS is retiring. We are essentially building an industrial park in low Earth orbit.
It's fascinating. We are pushing hardware into the most hostile environment imaginable. But, we're seeing that same engineering mindset applied to another hardware environment that's just as complex.
The human body.
Yeah.
That's a great connection. Biology is, in a sense, the ultimate legacy hardware. And this week, we saw a story that really highlights how we're starting to debug it.
You're talking about the cure for CPS1 deficiency.
Yes. This is one of those stories that gets buried but is actually revolutionary. CPS1 deficiency is a severe condition where ammonia builds up in the blood. It's usually fatal for infants.
And they didn't just manage it, they fixed it.
They treated it like a coding error. They sequenced the baby's DNA, identified the specific typo in the gene, and then designed a custom gene editor to correct it.
The timeline is what blew my mind. How long did this take?
6 months, from diagnosis to infusion, and it cost less than $1 million.
In the world of pharma, where drugs take 10 years and billions of dollars, that is light speed.
It's founder mode applied to medicine.
Speaking of founder mode, Sedzi Brandai, the GitLab founder, is doing exactly that.
He is. He was diagnosed with cancer and decided to treat his survival like a startup problem, assembling a team, iterating on treatments.
Managing the project of his own health with the same aggression he used to build GitLab. It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It blurs the line between what is tech and what is life.
Well, while we are optimizing our genes, we also seem to be optimizing our entertainment for the shortest possible attention span. Have you seen Pine Drama?
I have. The TikTok spinoff for microdramas.
1-minute episodes, thrillers, romance.
Yeah.
It's like soap operas on speed.
And don't laugh. It is a $26 billion industry globally.
$26 billion for 1-minute clips.
It speaks to the modern brain. We want the dopamine hit immediately. No filler. Just plot twist, cliffhanger.
It fits perfectly with the new financial markets, too. Everything is moving to always on. The New York Stock Exchange is building a blockchain-based exchange.
This is huge. They want 247 trading of tokenized stocks.
So no more opening bell, no more waiting for Monday morning.
Nope. No more market opens at 9:30. If news breaks at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, the market reacts instantly. The liquidity never sleeps.
That sounds exhausting. But I guess if the bots are doing the trading, they don't need to sleep.
And it's not just stocks. People are betting on everything. Prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi hit $12 billion in trades.
Now there is a lot of debate here. Is this actually investing, or is it just the gamification of the news cycle?
It's both. But the interesting angle isn't the gambling, it's the data. Proponents call it a truth machine.
How so?
If people are putting real money on an outcome, say who wins an election, you generally get a more accurate signal than you do from a poll where there's no cost to being wrong.
So we're crowdsourcing the truth with our wallets.
In a way, it's the ultimate skin in the game.
So let's look at the board. We are putting AI chips on our lapels, sending data centers to space, editing our own genes like software, and trading stocks at 4 a.m. while watching 1-minute soap operas.
It sounds chaotic, doesn't it?
It is chaotic,
What?
but it's also undeniably fascinating. We are rewriting the operating system of civilization in real time.
And that leads to a big question for everyone listening.
What's that?
We've talked about Apple using Google's models, Microsoft using Claude, robots running on similar architectures. If the underlying intelligence becomes a commodity, if everyone is just renting the same brain, what happens to the brand?
Oh, that is the billion-dollar question.
Think about it. If your phone, your car, and your toaster all speak to you at the same level of intelligence, does it matter who made the hardware? At what point does brand loyalty become meaningless in a world where everything is just a wrapper for the same intelligence?
That is something to chew on. Are you buying a Tesla because it's a Tesla? Or are you just buying a physical container for an AI model that you could get anywhere else?
Exactly. The value might not be in the metal anymore. It might not even be in the logo.
Well, on that existential bombshell, we are going to wrap up. It's been a pleasure navigating the chaos with you.
Likewise.
Make sure you keep your firmware updated, keep your passwords strong, and for heaven's sake, keep a healthy dose of skepticism handy. We'll catch you on the next one.
Spoken Tech for your ears.